Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us live and by recorded video to our product webinar discussing what's new with Correspondence. A couple of housekeeping items. We will be recording today's presentation, and you'll be able to find this and other recordings on NPAC's knowledge base. If you have any questions during the presentation, please use that Q&A function. It's at the bottom of your Zoom screen. We do have staff standing by watching that. And today you'll be hearing from Numeria, our product manager, on why we made this change. And then Jeff will be leading us in a walkthrough of the product. Let's take a quick look at the agenda. So today we're going to talk about an overview of the Correspondence product update, why we did this, what benefits that will be for you. We're going to have a demonstration of the key features that changed and how you can get started in your jobs with the Correspondence new functionality. We'll have some tips and best practices to share and allow for some time for you guys to ask questions that are specific to your business process. So with that, I'd like to hand this off to Numeria, our product manager. Take it away.
Hello, everyone. So we had over 69 tickets in user voice talking about Correspondence and the problems and issues that we were facing with it. Some of the improvements that were requested by our clients here was like merge fields, ability to add headers and footers, images and signatures and page numbers to make it more coherent with your design guidelines. And with the current Correspondence change, you would be able to do all of the above. There were also requests to be able to upload a Word template, which now is included. You would be able to add any format of template, in fact, and change it to Word if need be, and generate and edit the templates on the go within FCG. What has changed? Amy, can I have the next slide, please? What has changed? The Correspondence template editor is now a full screen. So it's just not a modal. You will have a complete screen in front of you whenever you're clicking on Correspondence. There are separate tabs for editing a Word template versus an HTML template. As you can see in our screen that there is a very small screenshot here, but you will be able to see it more clearly when Jeff is demoing with us. But the documents can now be handled in two different tabs for two different versions. Templates can also be created and added right from this tab here. The HTML templates currently that you're using are going to remain in the product and you won't have to find them. They're still in place. The letters generated in Correspondence processing are not now PDFs, they're DOTX or DOCX instead of PDF. You can also convert those documents at the very end if you would like to keep a copy of that template as a PDF or otherwise. Can I have the next slide, please? The admin view in GE Classic has not changed, so we haven't touched that. It's just as it was. Another thing, a change in the modal and the UI is that when you're generating Correspondence, a pop-up screen will be there. So depending on the Correspondence output that you're choosing, whether it's a document or an email, given that you click on an email, we automatically will pre-select the template file type, which is HTML, because for emails, you still have to use HTML. And in the drop-down menu of the template, we're going to show you the templates that are already existing and are HTML. Given that you select the Correspondence output type as a document, we will select the Word file type for you, and you would be able to see all the pre-populated templates that you have in your system as a Word file listed below in the template tab. When generating Correspondence in batches, if you click on the preview functionality, it would still allow you to view all of your Word document as a single file to print it as a PDF. So all of these functionalities are there, and these are major changes that you should keep an eye out for. Now I will hand it over to Jeff to give us a demo and show us the visuals of how this is done. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Demaria. That was a lot of information really fast. We'll slow down here a bit and walk you through these changes that we're going to see here in the product demo. So we're going to talk about template management in Foundation Cloud Grants, how to edit these, how to manage these HTML and document templates that you're going to be using for email and for letters. I'll show you how to import a Word template file into Foundation Cloud Grants. I'll show you how you can use copy and paste to create new document templates. We'll show how to copy the document template to HTML, right? If you've already got a great letter template and you don't yet have an HTML template for using for email, there's just a real quick and easy way to do that. And then we'll take a long tour of what the features and functions are within the editor itself. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do there, editing headers and all kinds of fields that are available there. So we'll walk through that. And then we'll walk through generating correspondence for a single record, both the email function and the letter function. And then we'll talk about generating correspondence in a batch, both the email and the letter function. And as far as those last two questions go, I've already seen one question here in the Q&A. I'll go ahead and answer it live. Wendy says that she notices that once the correspondence has been saved in the grant, one is unable to open and edit the document. That's correct for an individual letter that's on an individual document. In batch processing, you definitely will be able to edit them before they're saved. In that setting, once it's done, you can't go in and edit those at this time. You do have the option to download it, tweak it, and then upload it as a media attachment onto that same tile within the record, though. So let's jump in and see how this works. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I'll save a little bandwidth here and turn off my camera as well. I'll share. And then, all right, good deal. So can everybody see my screen here? The Foundation
Yes, we can.
All right,
Yes.
very good. So we're going to start out with template management. Take a look at this cool new HTML editor, this cool new document editor, rather. It's in the same place as before. It's under Settings in the Correspondence menu. There's a list here of all the correspondence templates that we've got set up in our demo environment. This is on the production server, so this functionality you're seeing today, everybody's got. You'll notice the ones that don't have an HTML version yet are in red. That hasn't changed. That's still the way it used to be before. One of the questions that was asked in the registration responses was, can I delete old templates? And the answer is yes, absolutely. That was a junk one I created just to show this purpose. So we can delete that one. And let's open up an existing, well, I'll tell you what, let's create a new Word template here. So as you saw in the screenshot that Nemaria shared, we've got two new tabs here down here for setting up two templates. And so I'm going to call this one Scholarship Grant Award Letter. This will be for grants, and so we'll just use the grants template. This is going to be using our default grant query. You can use any grant-related query you want to that you've defined up in the queries menu here. And I could upload an existing template. I could create a new template just from scratch if I wanted to. For the purposes of this demo, I've gone ahead and just created a template that maybe I was using in a prior system, but we've got a template that we can use here. One option is I could do a new document, create a new template here, and I could just paste in. I could copy and paste from Word. That would be one option. A better option, though, is to take this letter and upload it. So I'm going to upload an existing template. Please save first. All right, got our handy dandy instructions here. Now I've got that saved. I can upload an existing template. And I'm going to go browse out and find it. Or you know what? I'll just drag it. Got it pulled up here. My custom office templates folder here. I'll just drag this in. And here's the scholarship grant award letter template, the DOTX file. It gives me the option to go ahead and create an HTML version. I'll skip that for now. I'll say save, and it's going to go ahead and load this in for me. It takes a second to load the content here. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so we can see this. But you'll notice the editing area now is much bigger. It brought in my images. It brought in my formatting. This is bold, etc. It brought in all of these merge fields. And in this cool new editor here, I've got a lot of things I can do here. There's the general, typical word processing formatting functions. I can do my alignments and my fonts and paragraph styles and whatnot. I can insert fields. I can insert tables and images and drawings. This is, very typical word processing stuff. I can do bookmarks, not really relevant for letters per se, but that's a cool feature. I can edit the header. I can edit the footer. I'm not going to go into all these things in detail today. I recommend you go in and play around with these features and see what you can do. There are fields that I can add. I can add a page number field at the bottom if I want to. I can add a date field, today's date. I can add a page count, document sequencing, etc. There are additional fields here. The merge fields is going to show me all the fields that are available in the query that I showed. There's also another way to get to the merge fields just with this little handy button right here. There are signer fields if you want to do, where your folks have to sign a document to return it. You can do signatures or initials or, whatever, custom fields for that. This little back arrow will swing it back around so I can see the list again. There are fillable fields. One of you guys had asked a question about, can we use this to create a survey template? You can do fillable fields here. I would just note that Foundation Cloud is really not a tool designed for survey management. You won't be able to manage any results that come back. It's not like SurveyMonkey or one of those tools. If you're going to be relying on that data to aggregate and report on it, I'd strongly recommend going with either something in your CRM system or perhaps using a third-party survey tool for those things. But you can do radio buttons and checkboxes and date fields with the calendar picker, all kinds of fun stuff in here. You can also do formulas if you want to get clever and do like you would in an Excel function. There's all kinds of powerful stuff. You could merge fields together. If the salutation is blank, then use the name instead. You can get as complicated as you want to in here. More design elements. This is sort of templating, if you will. There's some preset templates out of the box. Some of these look kind of dated, but you can do your own custom templates if you like, and choose font sets and color sets for each of these templates. Page setup, orientation, paper size, etc. You can choose what you see in the editor here, whether you want to show the images, whether you want to show bookmarks, smart grid lines, etc. Other tools here, just, man, all kinds of settings here. They've got a spell check. They've got a thesaurus. The thing will read your letter out loud to you. Every time I look at this, I'm amazed at all the additional functions we've got here. But we can drag and drop in field names as we need to. So all kinds of flexibility here in what we can do as we're editing these document templates. You'll notice if I go ahead and save, I'm going to save this document template. It's already saved. Now I can go over to the HTML version. So generally speaking, document is what you're going to use for your letters. HTML is generally what you're going to use for email. You can use HTML for letters, but we did hear your feedback. Those are not easy to format. And that, it's not a good solution for most of you going forward. But generally speaking, HTML is going to be email and documents are going to be letters. So I can import from the document, right? So I've already got this document. I could just import the HTML and bring it over. And it's going to ask me if I want to do formatted or unformatted. The formatted version is going to include a lot of the document stuff that came in. And in a really complex document with lots of elements, that formatting is kind of hard for this tool to decipher and make HTML out of it. So we definitely recommend using the unformatted version. This is a really simple one. I'll show you what the formatted one looks like. It didn't bring over the image, but it did have the spacing done correctly here. If I want to bring it over unformatted, it also managed to skip the image somehow. But the font didn't look exactly right. So a couple different options here on formatting. But if it's a really complex template, it's definitely going to be best to do it unformatted and then tweak it from here. I could come in and if I wanted to, I could go to my screenshots. Where are my screenshots? I could copy an image from one of my screenshots down here and paste it in. I'll skip that, but I can copy and paste an image. I can add an image using this little toolbar up here. And the same HTML functionality that's been in place for a long time is still available here. You can drag and drop your fields. You can drag and drop fields into your subject line so that, maybe if it's a grant transmittal letter, you may want to include the fund name in the subject line or the fund number, perhaps. You can certainly do that. So this functionality is HTML is about the same. Document is just crazy powerful. We are pretty happy with what we put out, the big viewing area, etc. I'm going to go ahead and come up for air here and see Mark and Namaria. Have there been any Q&A questions that I need to answer live before we move on?
It doesn't look like it, Jeff.
Okay.
Not yet. Not yet.
Not yet. There'll be plenty of time, so feel free to type those questions in as I move forward. We've talked quite a bit about the templates here. I'm going to go ahead and show how we use correspondence in action here. So let's jump over to our grants menu. I'll pull up a grant where we can go to our documents tile. This is where we do correspondence. And you'll notice this has changed, like Namaria had mentioned before. The correspondence output, being a document or letter, is still the same option as before. You'll notice when I choose document, it defaults here to the Word document. When I choose email, the Word document's unavailable. So when we're doing email, it has to be HTML based, right? But if I want to do a document, I will go ahead and choose the appropriate template. Here's one that we'll just use this new one that we just created, Scholarship Grant Award Letter. I'll go ahead and generate this, and it gives me a very large screen to show the document that was in here. I can save this. I can, you know what I didn't do on that screen? I didn't validate it to make sure that these field names were correct. And I bet they're not. I bet that's what happened here. It didn't merge them in. Let me try a different template. In fact, before I do, let me show you that function. I'm going to pull up this scholarship template. Well, I'm going to try to open the template. I think I may have confused it. All right. In this Scholarship Grant Award Letter, if I edit this, one of the great features here is this validate document function, and it will basically tell me if my merge fields are, if they're good. Document is valid. So this tells me that all these merge fields are correct. If I've imported from the wrong query or whatever, if one of these isn't accurate, if I put a space in here, this should tell me, yeah, I didn't save first, and then validate. I'm not sure what's going on here. It might not be recognizing these. But anyway, let's jump back over and go back to the grant record again, where we were. I'll bring up a different one that I do know works. If I do new correspondence, document or document, this grant award letter, this one's nothing to write home about, but it does look good, or it does at least show proof of concept. So this one has an image in it, and it's got the mail merge fields filled out here and merged in. So I can make changes here and then save it. Once it is saved, I can't go back in and edit it from here. But I can, if I need to make changes to it after the fact, I can, like I was saying before, I can download it. The preview just generates the screen here. I can download a copy of it. Close this out. If I just click on it, it downloads it into my browser. I can open it up on my other monitor, of course. And then once that's done, I can come back in and delete the one that was created. Was it that one? Yeah, it was this one. I could delete this one, and then I can upload from my downloads. This one that I just changed.
Well, that seems pretty important, Jeff, that if you do change it after you created it, you got to put the new one in there.
Right, quite right. When you generate it, you can edit it then, but if you've saved it, then yeah, you'll notice this one's got the word Frankie in it.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right, Amy. If you do, once you generate it, you've got the opportunity to change it then. But once you've saved it, if you need to make changes, you'll need to download, make the changes, delete the one you created here, and then upload the new one. Let's show email as well. We can work with that same one, that grant award letter. You'll notice the drop-down list of available templates changed here. Some of my templates have the HTML in them, and some of them don't. So when I switch from Word docket to HTML, that list changes. So here is an email that was generated, and you'll notice here the same issue happened there with the merge. So I'll need to go in and tweak that same thing. I can still do all the things that I did before. The screen really hasn't changed much. You know, all the email addresses that we have that are related to this grant at all, right? The payee, the recipient, you know, everything from all these constituents. These folks are options. I can send it to here and copy these or whatever. So I can do attachments manually here if I need to. So this hadn't changed. I can still do this and send an email. I'll send Frankie an email. He'll wonder what's going on. Oh, you know what? I think we broke our email settings on this environment a while back. So that's email, and that's correspondence on an individual level. I want to go up and show you how this works in batch. I'm going to pull up the docket. It's got a bunch of grants on it. So for all these grant payments, we can do batch correspondence. There was a question that someone had submitted about whether these templates can be used in batch or just one-offs. Definitely in batch. And if I use that same grant award letter for the documents, I can generate all of these documents. They're all here. I can edit each one of these if I need to. Pull this up, give it a second to load, and then I can make changes to the document. If I need to, it'll save them. This was for 1647. So if I open it back up again, it'll show that change that I just made. You can make all the changes you need to. Just like before, you can select them all and preview selected. And this will just basically take all those letters and put them into one big PDF document. So we'll see one page for each email that's going out. We can review these here and make sure they're all good, and then print from here. Just print all 11 letters out same side. I can then download all of them if I want to. Just that'll put them up in a zip file and put that in my downloads. Or when I'm happy with all these, I can just close it and it's going to save them back. It'll warn me if you save it. I'm no longer going to be able to print all 11 of them together in that one export. Am I sure? Yes, I'm sure. So close that out. And then of course we've got the same functionality too here in email as well. I can choose email. I can choose that same grant award letter template. I can generate the emails. I want these to go to recipients, not to fund advisors. Sure, I can include the contacts, and I could tweak these settings here if I want to, but I'll just say okay. And again, it's generated all these emails. I can edit them one at a time and tweak them if I need to. And again, all the same functionality we saw in the prior.
Jeff, if I could interject.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
On that list that we're looking at there, go ahead and close this.
Mm-hmm. This list.
In this list, if it should happen that the query that was chosen for the template doesn't have data for one of these items, it will notify you in this list. So the item will say that it's missing data. So you'll know that you need to go back and look at that record or tweak the query.
Yeah, great point. Thanks, Mark. And again, the same functionality as before. You can preview them all, select them all and preview them all together. That'll dump them all into a PDF that you can take a look at. You can send them all. If you choose to close, it's not going to save them at all. And so that's what I'm going to do here because I don't want to save those. In our email settings apparently are wrong on the server. I don't want to try to send those anyway. So We've gone through template management. We've gone through using these templates in individual record screens and using them in batch. I want to go ahead and come up for air real quick before I stop my screen sharing and hand it back to Amy. Are there more questions that have come in?
We do. There was a question of how do you change the date format in the template? For example, from the 5/29/2024 to May 29th, 2024.
Great question. Right now, the way we typically handle that is we edit the view that drives that correspondence query, right? If it's a standard query or if it's our default query, we'll need to do that behind the scenes and edit the database view. It comes back in that format from SQL Server, from the database. If we need to change that format, we typically have to do it at the database level. I haven't explored fully. Mark, you may know the answer to this one, but it's possible that a date field in a correspondence batch. My browser's acting funny today. But it's possible that a date field in a correspondence batch may allow you to do formatting on a merge field. Do you know, Mark?
If the date is coming from the database, then it needs to get formatted in the database. It will recognize it as a date and apply basic formatting if it needs. Oh, I don't know. You can.
So this is plain text. I could make it a date, and then I could configure the date format. Bear with me, I'm still exploring. It's a great question. And I think we can, it looks like the format is currently going to be like that. It's treated like text right now, but if we tell it, we may have to set a locale. I don't know what.
There's United States at the bottom. Yeah.
And then Wednesday, May 29th, or just without the Wednesday, maybe. Hopefully there's something in here. Here we go, May 29th.
I think the third one from the top is more of the one you're interested
There we go,
in.
with no time. Yeah, there we go.
Yep.
And then you choose your time zone. Well, that's for time conversion. This one's not going to include a time. So this is the output format, MMD, YYYY, and it would look like this. We would need to test this and make sure, not have to choose everything, darn it. We'd have to play around with it and see what we could do here. It's possible we could do it through the screen. You can have the support team, you can open a ticket and have the support team help you out with it. If it's something that needs to be changed in a database view, they can escalate it to the appropriate engineers here in Impact to get that done for you.
Great, thank you.
I cancel that. Great question, love it.
There's another question. All my correspondence is in HTML. If I switch to a doc.x, can I just open the HTML and copy and paste it into the document tab of the correspondence template editor? Or
Yes,
do I have to redo them all from scratch?
Nope, you can definitely cut and paste. So I'm not going to save my changes here, but I'm going to come over and just Control A and copy everything here, and then Control C. Sorry, to select everything and copy it all, right? If I come over to the document, I'm going to delete everything that's in this document template right now, and then I'm going to paste in from HTML. And it did a decent job. It's not going to be perfect, but it's a great starting point. You can come in and tweak whatever you need to here. But if you've got
need to re-add in all your merge fields because they're in the wrong format.
That's what was wrong with this one. Yeah, we've got rec name. These are square brackets around these. And then in this case, and I think that's what's wrong. What was wrong with the one I just created a few minutes ago, Mark, is that the merge field format here is something like this, right?
Yeah.
May need to just manually take all these. Here's the rec name field. Let's delete it and then find the rec name field in here and drag it in. So you'll need to go in and, well,
you just click on it. You don't drag it.
Thank you. There we go. You dropped it in. So it looks like you'll need to take all of your merge fields if you do this and delete them and replace them with manually with the new merge fields. It looks like you might need to reformat them as well. If I go to the Format tab, this font that I just, on this one that I just set up here, doesn't look like it's the same font as this. So once you're finished, you'll want to select it all and go in and do whatever your font style is that you want to make it all standard. But it's certainly a good starting place. You won't be starting from scratch. You'll just need to replace all of your field names. Y'all can learn from this mistake that I just made here. I'm going to cancel this without saving my changes. Might have saved them. But when I went in and did this new scholarship grant award letter, I imported from a template which had these document merge fields in the HTML format rather than in the this field format with the greater than and less than signs at the end. This validate document didn't recognize these square brackets as merge fields. So it didn't tell me that these were all wrong. So I went and did a merge and didn't get any values in. So I didn't set up my fields. So if you get that, if you go to a grant record or a proposal record or whatever and do a correspondence letter, and it comes up with these names like this, then essentially you'll know that you need to come back in and replace these with delete them and replace them with fields from the list.
We could add a feature if somebody wants to suggest that. Just like when you're on the HTML tab, there was a import from document. Over here, we could add an import from HTML, and then we could be smart about it and replace your merge fields.
Smart idea.
Great time to shout out user voice. Your suggestions here on what we needed to do and how we needed to improve this were largely from user voice. So thank you all from your input there. As you're using this, if you see, hey, this is great, but it sure would be nice if blah, 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 head on out to user voice and make a suggestion. We'll be happy to tweak it. Amy, are there any more questions either in chat or in Q&A before we jump into taking a look at some best practices and answering some questions?
Yeah, there's one more. One of our users was trying to follow along and pulling up correspondence. They were never able to pull the correspondence for a single grant or a batch of grants. It just spun the entire time, like it was preparing something, but nothing happened. What might cause that?
That's a good question. It could be a configuration setup on our side. It could be a file permission issue where we're saving these files. You know, I didn't mention it, but as we are looking at these documents, you'll notice that we've saved this here. This template is now on the M drive, right? It could be behind the scenes, some failure to access that M drive. In which case you'd need to open a support ticket and our engineers can take a look at that and help get it right. That's the only scenario that comes to mind as to why it wouldn't. I guess the other scenario that comes to mind is if you're using a query. This one's using the default grant query, which out of the box will have a single record in it for every grant. But if you're using a custom query or one that you built yourselves, and it's got a filter, it's got a condition on it where we're only bringing back a subset of the grants, it's possible that the query doesn't include the grant that you're trying to do correspondence for. So that could be the issue there as well. But yep, if you need to open a ticket, feel free. We can take a look at your error logs and see if it's a file issue or exactly what's going on there. I didn't mention it before, but if you have correspondence templates that you've been using in GE Classic, as you come into FCG and open them up in the screen, it'll automatically take those files and bring them into here and then convert them to a new file named this DOCX template, the way we're doing it now. And so you really won't have to do anything. You can bring those in here automatically. And if you want to use those to send emails as well, you'll need to come over to the HTML tab and either import them from the document or perhaps cut and paste from here and paste into the HTML tab to be able to use those for emails. We've tried to make it as easy as possible to transition to this new functionality. So quick shout out to Mark and the rest of the engineers who've worked so hard on this. Tell you what, Amy, let's go ahead and take a look at the best practices slide. You can go ahead and take over the screen share. We can talk through those. And then we had some folks ask questions when they registered. We'll want to address those as well and then open it up for more Q&A. Okay, so The first one is what I just mentioned here. Although users can still generate correspondence letters in GE Classic for now, GE Classic will go away soon, right? So you need to take some steps to migrate your Word templates from Classic to FCG and start getting into the practice of running your correspondence through FCG. If you've got urgent correspondence you've got to run today or tomorrow, then of course keep using your same processes. But do some planning, make some time to go in and start learning this new correspondence template editor and start doing your correspondence through FCG. We are here to help. So let us know if you have any issues. You can open up support tickets, and we'll be happy to work with you on changing your business processes and getting over to this new exciting way to do correspondence. Another best practice here is that when editing templates, you'll need to wait for that document tab to load. I'm sure you noticed that whenever we switched over to a document tab or whenever we were doing a merge, particularly in the template editor, that it was a bit slow to load. It's probably best to let those templates load. Give them a second to just pull up into the screen. If they don't load completely, they could automatically be saved incomplete. So make sure you let those load fully before you jump to another tab. And then finally, whenever you are converting a document-based template into an HTML template, when you're doing that import on the HTML tab and saying, I want to use this letter format in my emails, it's a best practice to use that unformatted version. A lot of these templates can have some really, you guys do amazing and wonderful things in your templates and they get really complicated, and converting that down to HTML isn't always a perfect process. So the unformatted version is going to be your best bet, most likely. You can experiment with both. But those are just a few tips to get you going in the right direction. We did have a few of you submit questions during registration. Thanks for all of those of you who did. I think we've answered all three of these in the demo, but I'll real briefly go through these. One is, are templates still available to be used in batch, or are they just for single use? And so yes, you can use them in both places. Are correspondence templates able to be deleted? We have old templates that are obsolete. We have to scroll through pages of templates to find the right ones. Yes, correspondence templates can be deleted. The little ellipsis menu right next to each one of them allows you to delete it if you want to. And then finally, that last question there, is it possible to build a survey template in Foundation Cloud? Yes, you can, but if you're looking to do some serious surveying and aggregating the results that come back, Foundation Cloud's not a tool for that. You can create the templates and send them out from FCG for sure. But if you're looking to really aggregate that data that comes back in, we definitely recommend using your CRM system or perhaps a survey tool, a third-party tool for that. So those are the questions from the registration. Let's open it up again for any more questions that have come up, or if anyone else wants to jump in and add one.
Great. There was a question Wendy was looking for. Where do you access the formatting piece? It didn't show on her window. Would you be able to quick show that, Jeff?
Let me share my screen again. Definitely. We're here in the correspondence. Oh, sorry.
Oops, you got to share.
Not sharing yet. If I pull up this, am I sharing my screen now?
Yes, you are.
All right. Oh, notice there's a copy feature here as well. I can just make a copy of an existing letter and then go tweak it. If I open this grant award letter template, you'll notice my takes a second to load. Again, we got to wait till it loads up. Once it loads up, this little hamburger menu here will give you all of your options. It takes a second to load. Sometimes it'll be open by default. Sometimes it'll be closed. But this little guy right here is what you're looking for. You should be able to open it up and see all the formatting options in this little menu. Is that working for you, Wendy?
When you open it from settings correspondence, it will automatically open the editor flyout with the merge fields. But when you were demoing the actual generating of merged templates, then when it opens up, it doesn't automatically expand the formatting tool. So like Jeff said, you have to click on the little hamburger menu.
Great point. Let me go do a new correspondence letter here on this grant record, grant award letter. Give it a second to merge. And then we've got the output here that we can edit, but yeah, where's the the functionality for formatting. It's right here. We got to wait for it and then click that little hamburger to open up. And then we should be able to see all this stuff. I'm not looking at the chat. Amy, can you see if
Yeah. I haven't heard back from Wendy yet,
okay, fair enough.
but that's good. There was one other question. Amy she's seeing the formatting on the top of the letter, not to the side, and the icons don't seem to match up. Is she looking at a different screen more than likely?
That's probably
Yeah.
HTML and not Word doc.
Cancel that and go back to the editor. So yeah, in this document template editor, we've got the, oh, I gotta be patient. We've got the editing features over here for document. But whenever you go over to HTML, this one hasn't changed. This is a different editor. This is our HTML editor, and the formatting functions are just available on the top. Did that answer the question?
I believe so. She says it does look like an email template, but I do not see the option to move to a document.
So you can move from a document to an HTML template. You can't go the other way with the click of a button, but I did show it earlier where you can just essentially select all, copy, and then come back in and paste here if you want to.
And then
when
replace your fields.
Yeah, when you do remember to replace your fields, these have square brackets around them, and then these have the different identifiers around them, and so you'll need to replace all of your new fields in here with the correct format. And then make sure your fonts are correct on those.
Okay,
Good question.
that answers. We have another one. We currently still use GE Classic for all correspondence. When opening certain templates in FCG in the web view, we find that certain merge fields do not work while others do. Is this because certain merge fields only work in Classic and others merge fields only work in FCG?
Good question. All the fields that are on the query should be available in both document and HTML templates. And so if some are working and some are not, it could be the case that they have square brackets instead of this new identifier here on the new menu. So that could be the case.
Also,
go ahead.
Not all of the merge field capabilities that were available in Word are available here. So if you had complicated things like combined fields or calculations and things of that sort, they might not render properly over here. And also because maybe they aren't available, those fields are no longer available because of the query that's being chosen. So there's some, you will have to, do some proofing to make sure that your template is working for you.
Yeah, great point, Mark. So if you've got some fields that are working and others that aren't, then one place you can start is coming back in here and doing the validate document to make sure that all the merge fields are recognized as merge fields. If the document shows as valid and it's still not merging, that's the case that we saw when I first started the demo here, right? Essentially, is what that would mean is you would need to go in to find the merge field that's failing, delete it, and then re-add it, see if that fixes it. And if it's a complex field, like Mark said, if it's a combined field or if it's got a formula behind it or something along those lines, you may need to recreate that formula. And if I scroll down here just a little bit, one of these functions in here, or maybe it was on fields, but one of these functions had for a formula where you could go in and do, this particular field is, this field plus that field. And you can build a complex formula here if you need to. And if it still gives you trouble, open a ticket. We're glad to help.
Yes, so where we have identified problems already, we've contacted the manufacturer, Zoho, and they're very responsive, and they're working with us to resolve those kinds of problems. So we will keep updating as we get new fixes and whatnot.
Yeah, great point, Mark. I didn't bring that up on the call before, but this is both the HTML editor and the document editor are two different third-party controls that are the functionality of those controls is for the most part outside of our control. But we do work with those vendors to keep these tools up to date. And then any limitations here, my fillable fields or my formulas aren't working properly. If we need to escalate some of these issues up to support for those third-party vendors, then we can certainly do so.
Great. I have another question for the team. In Classic, this foundation was using a template location of the client C drive. Can FCG use that same file, or do they need to set up a Word template on an M location?
No, unfortunately, just due to the architecture of Foundation Cloud, that's not going to be possible. Our web servers can't access your hard drive for security reasons, and that should probably make you happy. You don't want us accessing your hard drive. And so in those cases, essentially what we'll need to do is come in and upload an existing template. You can upload it from your hard drive. And then when you save it, it's going to save it to your M drive on our servers behind the scenes. And so we can't continue to use your hard drives for those. We need to have those in the cloud. And we strongly recommend not using templates that are based on somebody's hard drive. If your hard drive crashes, or if you win the lottery and move on, then you don't want to leave your foundation in a lurch, right? We want these on a secure server that gets backed up daily. So definitely get those off of your machines and up into the cloud. Great question.
Great. I think that is it. Jeff. I'm going to take back the screen.
Go for it. All yours.
Great. So if you have more questions, please feel free to open a support ticket. Our support team is ready and willing to help on this. Both mine and Jeff's contact information is there. If we can be helpful, please reach out. We do have documentation on this as well that we will be sharing when we share out the recording. So we will be able to give you a link to our knowledge base that'll have the documentation if you prefer to use that. But we will have this recorded so that you can reference how to use the correspondence. So if you need us, please reach out. So I want to thank everyone for joining us today. I know that was a lot of information in a short amount of time, but good luck, and please reach out if we can help. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all.